Kat Timpf's commentary on Joe Biden's presidency shines a light on several pivotal issues, not only calling attention to his verbal lapses, but also suggesting a broader concern about his capacity to lead. Her observations underscore how these recurring incidents go beyond simple misstatements, painting a picture of a leader whose cognitive faculties appear strained. Timpf uses these moments as a lens through which to evaluate the current state of leadership, drawing attention to both the president's public appearances and the implications they have on trust, stability, and effective governance. One key point raised by Timpf is how Biden's frequent gaffes, while sometimes dismissed as minor slip-ups, have come to symbolize a larger problem. His public struggles with names and identities, for example, are not isolated incidents but part of a discernible pattern. Rather than focusing solely on the humorous aspects of these mistakes, Timpf suggests that they reveal deeper challenges that go to the heart of what it means to lead the nation effectively. The repetition of these errors, especially when they occur during crucial moments, raises questions about how well the president is able to process information and make critical decisions under pressure. Timpf also brings up the media's role in shaping public perception of these incidents. She argues that instead of addressing the underlying concerns, the press often downplays or dismisses them, fostering a sense of normalcy around events that might otherwise be alarming. This normalization, Timpf contends, not only undermines transparency but also sets a lower bar for leadership. When minor displays of competence are celebrated, it shifts expectations, leaving the public with a leadership standard that would have been considered unacceptable in the past. Another thread in Timpf's analysis is the way Biden's public interactions have at times taken on a surreal quality. From moments where he appeared lost or confused to interactions that bordered on the absurd, these instances have contributed to a growing sense of unease. For Timpf, they highlight not just a problem of optics, but a deeper question about the president's ability to command respect and maintain credibility on the world stage. This credibility, she suggests, is critical not only for domestic stability, but also for how the United States is perceived internationally. The discussion also touches on how diminished expectations have become a hallmark of the current administration. Timpf points to examples where routine tasks, such as walking to a podium or greeting a crowd, are met with applause simply because they are performed without incident. This, she argues, is indicative of how much the public's standards have shifted. In previous administrations, such basic displays of competence would have gone unnoticed. Now they're viewed as noteworthy, emphasizing just how much the baseline for acceptable leadership behavior has changed. Timpf doesn't stop at observing these shifts. She also delves into the potential long-term effects. When leadership is perceived as erratic or detached, it can erode trust in institutions. This erosion, she notes, doesn't happen all at once but gradually as each new incident compounds the last. Over time, it can lead to a public that feels increasingly alienated from those in power. Timpf's comments suggest that this alienation can have real consequences for policy, governance, and the broader political landscape. The more people perceive a disconnect between their leaders and the realities they face, the harder it becomes to enact meaningful change or to maintain the cohesion needed to address complex challenges. Adding another layer to her critique, Timpf draws attention to the consequences of this leadership style on the administration's ability to function. When the individual at the top seems disengaged or uncertain, it can lead to a cascading effect throughout the government. Departments may become less coordinated, policies might be implemented inconsistently, and the overall sense of direction can falter. In her analysis, this lack of steady guidance creates an environment where the administration operates on autopilot, leaving critical issues unresolved and creating space for more frequent missteps. Timpf's remarks also bring into focus the potential risks of allowing these patterns to go unexamined. By pointing out the media's tendency to gloss over these events, she raises concerns about the lack of accountability. Without rigorous scrutiny, it becomes easier for future administrations, regardless of political affiliation, to adopt similarly lax standards. Timpf suggests that this cycle could ultimately weaken the nation's political infrastructure, making it more difficult to hold leaders accountable and to ensure that the public remains informed about the state of their governance. In reflecting on these issues, Timpf's commentary goes beyond mere criticism. It serves as a call to action for both the public and the press to engage more critically with the political process. Her perspective urges people to question what they're willing to accept in their leaders, to demand greater transparency, and to resist the temptation to normalize behavior that might have once been deemed unacceptable. This, she argues, is essential for preserving the integrity of democratic institutions and for ensuring that future leaders are held to a higher standard. Ultimately, Timpf's observations speak to a larger conversation about the nature of leadership in a rapidly changing world. As she highlights the challenges and inconsistencies of the current administration, she also prompts us to think more deeply about what we value in our leaders. Are we satisfied with competence being reduced to a simple lack of major errors, or should we strive for something more? Timpf's remarks suggest that settling for the former is not only short-sighted, but also potentially harmful to the nation's long-term health. Her commentary invites us to reflect on these questions, to engage in more thoughtful discussions about the future of leadership, and to consider how we, as citizens, can play a role in shaping that future. By examining the broader implications of Biden's leadership style, Timpf illustrates the importance of maintaining a high standard for those who occupy the nation's highest office. Her critique challenges us to move beyond partisan divides and consider what effective governance truly looks like. Through her analysis, we are reminded that leadership is not merely about avoiding catastrophe, but about inspiring confidence, demonstrating competence, and providing a steady hand in times of uncertainty. As Timpf's remarks continue to spark conversation, they serve as a valuable reminder that the quality of leadership ultimately shapes the direction of the country.